Benjamin Mirashan, aka Ben Humble, repeat guest on the podcast. Not a guy that I stay in touch with all the time, but just how social media is, how I talk about a lot. You feel like you stay in touch with people and you can kind of see what moves they're making, the message they're putting out. This guy, literally top investor. He's strategy agnostic, which we're going to talk about on the podcast, but he is, if not the biggest real estate player in the investing kind of space that we're all in, direct to seller. It's a little different in Canada, which we'll talk about, but he is just the absolute man. Amazing story. I got his book here. Thank you. Shout out to Ben Humble's team. You guys can see the title here, From Communism to Capitalism, A Millionaire's Journey. He's got the white Lambo on here. The last time we did an interview was 2 years ago before COVID. So Ben and I were chatting that this is going to be cool, kind of touching base, how things have changed, masterminding, personal development, all that good stuff. So Ben Humble, my man, thank you for joining again on the show, and shout out to your team for sending me the new book.
My man, good to be here, bro. Let's chop it up.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Well, let's talk about that journey just to start off so we have a nice idea of your story and how you got to where you're at in Vegas right now, just doing public speaking, masterminding with all the top people in the country and even internationally. Let's just hear about your story, man.
Yeah, brother. So I was born in the communist country of Romania. My family escaped communism. We literally fled on foot when I was a 4-year-old kid. Dad basically grabbed me, grabbed siblings, and we ran across the border, middle of the night kind of stuff, things they'd make a movie about. Mom was pregnant with another child, and she grabbed the two that she had capacity for in her arms, and we literally fled. Like many immigrant stories, spent some time in a refugee camp. Our family got displaced, so we were reunited during that refugee camp situation, and eventually we were able to immigrate to Canada, where I came as a young kid. Mom and dad had 3 more kids, so I'm the oldest of 9, living in Canada. We're immigrants. Mom and dad are working 2 and 3 part-time jobs. Dad was a man of extreme and is of faith. Like, my dad is a person who I have tremendous respect for, because he shaped the way that I think, and he helped me shape my character as a young man. And dad helped me realize that the world is so much bigger than your immediate environment. And because dad's a Christian and we're Christians, we understand that there's greater sovereignty over your actions and your outcomes than what people in your direct vicinity can guide you through. So we live in this world of faith where we just move. So we're growing up. Dad's got 2 or 3 jobs. He's doing things to just put food on the table. So I understood the value of, making money, understood the value of taking care of your family. We placed a really high utility on spiritual development, a high utility on taking care of family, a high utility on just community. And that was the environment that I grew up in. I grew up as a musician, playing music. I went to university for a couple of years for that. I realized a couple of years into university that my teacher sat me down and she said, "You are the most talented, laziest kid I have." You're lazy. She said, "You got through 2 years of university with really no practice," right? I was a trumpet major, played the piano as well. And I realized at that moment that, although I had a passion for music and stuff, I did not develop a work ethic for it. I played, I learned by ear, I did things as I was growing up. So I didn't have that work ethic. So I think that destiny, and I think that the way that my life kind of progressed, allowed me the opportunity to become a person of high discipline. So I dropped out of there and I did the only thing that I knew how to do, which was clean carpets, clean floors, clean toilets, because my family had been doing janitorial. Like every immigrant family, we do janitorial. And as a kid, they would take me out with them to go and clean the church or whatever. And the way that I got out of doing the work was practicing the piano. So as a young adult, I'd practice the piano at the church while they were cleaning, sweeping, and vacuuming. But as a young man, I dropped out of music school to clean, sweep, and vacuum so that I can start generating some money and get a sense for the game of business. So I learned most of what I know just literally as a street business owner, getting out there, door knocking, talking to people, getting carpet cleaning gigs. My first job was $100 to clean the carpet. And that led me down the path of finding better vehicles. And I think that that's when windows and doors open, is when your mind, your reticular activating system, is always focused on what else can I build that will give me more leverage, more income? What can I do that's going to give me more fulfillment, more passion? And it led me to real estate. So I bought my first place at 21 years old. I got in creative financing and I was able to complete that deal. And then from there, now we purchased over 300 properties in Canada. We have a lending business. We have a community of amazing real estate entrepreneurs that we help and serve every day to grow their own business. So it's been a journey now that I'm 36 years old. The pandemic and everything has really created a very interesting opportunity. I stay in an abundant state of mind. I go by humble because I believe regardless of where you started in life, so long as you ask great questions, you practice humility, you understand that you can keep pushing forward, you can create whatever outcome you want for your life. So I've been traveling, I've been vacationing for the last few months, living in hotels with my wife, with our dog, and we're just having an amazing time. All of our businesses are virtual, real estate, everything has moved into a virtual setting in Canada, which has been phenomenal for us. So for me, it's hard to say that COVID was a blessing because people get really triggered and defensive on that. But for me, it was a gift. It gave me an opportunity to dissect everything I was doing in business and life and make decisions that better align with the vision that I have for my life and the outcome that I truly want. And I've been able to move in faith during a pandemic to actually grow my income, grow my impact, and grow my fulfillment in what I'm doing. That's why I'm traveling, going around, writing music, doing events, masterminding, building the business virtually. That's my life today.
Love it, man. 300 plus properties, if I heard that correctly. Guys, check the show notes, especially if you're in Canada. If you're in the United States as well, you can still check this out, cashflowtribe.com, to see everything on Ben Humble. When we spoke 2 years ago, and I mean, there's a lot of good talking points for the last retort there, last response there. One, I think it's an interesting balance of being humble, but also having like extreme confidence to the point of conviction that you're going to be successful in yourself, mixed with the day and age in social media of like personal branding versus how much of that could be ego driven. So I think that you have a nice play in being able to connect with people on that, on the humble side. And I mean, really just your story in general. I mean, I don't know how someone can't connect with that and love it. I want to hear specifically, I guess, how you were able to pivot stuff. I know you mentioned a lot of stuff in Canada went virtual, but what were kind of the first stages, probably shortly after we talked, when lockdowns were going on? You're in Canada, white Lambo cruising around. What kind of things did you do? And I guess what were struggles for you to also bring to light? Because we do have a lot of high volume people on here, a lot of successful investors in here. I think one thing that is helpful is kind of being authentic and transparent in things that they struggled in and are still struggling in. Just so somebody listening to this is like, okay, damn, if Ben is struggling this or is struggling this, like I should have at least some peace of mind in my struggles or challenges that I'm facing.
Yeah, I don't believe change happens until there's an issue or a problem. So you got to find the struggle and then ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? So Canada is about 10, 15 years behind the US in many, many different ways, in technology, access to information, real estate deals. In 2017, 18, when I started doing wholesaling in Canada, it was basically non-existent. Nobody really knew what they were doing. It wasn't a thing because the market hadn't rallied to the point where people couldn't just go to the MLS and buy real estate deals. So there was some underground movement, but by and large, it was not a thing. Wholesaling in Canada was just kind of a myth. So I came to the US and I understood from you guys, hey man, there's this thing called wholesaling, go direct to seller, find properties, do all that stuff. So I brought that stuff back with me and I had free reign for a year and a half. I literally took the concept of wholesaling. I went back to my attorney and I did the only thing I knew how to do was go, hey man, is this legal or not? How do I do it? What's the paperwork got to look like? And I was willing to spend money and time and energy with my attorney to figure out how to position myself like any business owner to dominate a local niche that nobody else was exploiting. And he said, this is the paper. This is how you do it. This is what happens. So I just started doing it. And I had a year and a half of wholesaling before anybody started. In the traditional sense, you look at the property, you go on site, you lock up the contract, et cetera, et cetera. The thing to understand is that I was already flipping properties. I had 12, 13 guys on staff in my construction company, and I was running out of inventory. And the only reason I even started looking at direct to seller marketing was because I needed more property and more flow for my own personal team.
Mhm.
So this was out of a need for me. So I didn't go seeking wholesaling as an entry-level way to get into real estate. I already done over 70 deals by this point, and I was looking for a better way to source the properties that I needed for my guys. Well, in sourcing deals, I'd end up with 10, 15, 20 properties under contract. My guys could only fulfill 5, 6, or 7 at the same time. And I go, crap, I've got these properties. I paid money for marketing. What do I do? And then that's when the idea of like, let me just get rid of the contracts. Let me get rid of the contracts. So what happened during the pandemic is whoever started doing this business took the same antiquated approach that, happens to all real estate in Canada, because it's basically a monopoly managed by the realtor community. Well, everybody's trying to go on site. Everybody's trying to do this stuff. Everybody's trying to do the door knocking. During a pandemic, all that stuff gets shut down. So now we have an urgency around digitizing this in Canada. So how do you digitize? Not just in the marketing sense, but even in the whole process. So we were Bitcoin before Bitcoin, meaning we took an entire industry during a pandemic and completely turned it digital that didn't exist before. I remember going to my attorney before pandemic going, hey man, I don't want to come to your office to sign paperwork. Is there a way that I can do this in a different way? Nope, not a chance. We need wet signatures. You have to come down here. You have to go to the bank. You have to get a hard check. You have to bring it to my office. And we're talking a year and a half ago. You guys have wires and all this other stuff, and you have digital notaries and all that. And we had none of that stuff. It just wasn't a thing really in Canada. As soon as the pandemic hit, every lawyer had to adjust. The banks had to adjust. We had to find a way. And when there's pressure and constraint, there's opportunity. So the business itself, the industry, turned into more of a digital approach. Now, there's still many, many check and balance processes that are done in person or otherwise, but I just signed a deal the other day, completely digital. I flipped the contract, showed it to my attorney. I'm going to stick it in a FedEx envelope from Las Vegas, ship it back to Canada, and the deal is closed. So we're able to do this. So anybody who was on this forefront, anybody who took action here and started really moving in the online digital side, crushing the game in Canada. Canada's having one of the hottest markets they've ever had. My local city is appreciated 29%, 29%, and 27% in the last 3 years. We're almost 90% increase. Like, I don't think Americans, when we say the housing market is hot, Canada, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. In 4 years, the market's doubled. So when you look at that context, it's all speculation driven, foreign buyer activity, robbing Peter and Paul to try to purchase properties. And there's a whole massive shortage. Canada's become the safe haven for a lot of foreign currency. So my point to you is that it's an incredible time to be a real estate entrepreneur. But in a hot market, the 80-20 rule, which I know you believe in, the Pareto principle, it might even be 90-10. Like, unless you're in that top percentile of people that they understand and have real understanding over how the game works, unless you know how to raise capital, which there's plenty of money these days, unless you have a real business for getting involved in this space, you're just a pipe dream. You're not going to make your basic one offer a month on the MLS with your realtor on some okay looking property at a 70% discount. It's just not happening. So you have two choices in this marketplace. You can wait, or you can build a real business. And that's the fundamental of what we do every single day with business owners. Is we understand this. If you want to dominate the game of real estate, you need to dominate the game of business. Build an active business in the real estate industry, generate profit. That profit goes back into your passive long-term holdings. Instead of, you're a consumer, you go to the bank, you try to invest in real estate with the very limited resources you have. So you're squeezing as much as you can out of your equity, out of your total debt service ratio, out of your income, out of your down payments. You're going to buy 3 properties in the next 3 years when you could have bought 30, 40, or 50 had you simply focused on the fundamentals of business, not just the fundamentals of real estate. And that's been a core driver for us, is building amazing real estate companies. And I'm so thrilled when I see people in our community. We've got dozens of people that have literally during a pandemic quit their job, made $100,000 to $300,000 of income, have an active business, and they've reclaimed their life in the middle of a pandemic, which I think is absolutely amazing. So this stuff gets me fired up, man.
Yeah, dude. I love that. I'm fired up. Bitcoin before Bitcoin. It reminds me of one, I guess it might have been an internal mastermind call that you did with homie Ramon Gonzalez
Yeah.
talking about crypto and stuff like that, which is such a fascinating space, crypto, NFT, blockchain, which made me think about the Bitcoin before Bitcoin comment as far as digitizing stuff in Canada. That growth year over year in the Canadian market is absolutely insane too. I can't say I know any off the top of my head any United States investors that are holding any property in Canada, but that's crazy. The 4-year growth essentially over doubling in value.
Yeah, it's an extremely speculative market, no different than, I bought property in Phoenix years ago, that ratcheted and just completely grew after the 2008 recession. And like, it's so speculation driven. I give you an example just to give you context over how wide the spread is. We just did a property that we listed, the team put it out there. First offer was $499. The second offer was $550. The third offer was $640, and the last offer was $750.
In Arizona, this is Phoenix, just so I'm following.
This is Canada. This is
Canada. This is in Canada.
So the delta is $750 to $500. It's a $250,000 delta.
That's insane.
So only the foreign buyer, only the person looking to effectively park their capital in safe haven Canada is making those kind of investments, those kind of offers. So what I'm saying is that it's so much driven by this kind of speculative buying that the economy itself, the Canadian consumer, is extremely fragile. They're fearful, they're scarcity driven, there's not enough. And every time there isn't enough, the price keeps going up higher. So it's really, really unfortunate for Canadians that want to buy a home and they want to become a consumer, because you're competing with investors who aren't afraid to leverage, who aren't afraid to go and make transactions or buy at a price that is unrealistic because they're looking at future value. They're looking at a discounted model, even on their cash flow. They're looking at different metrics that the average consumer is not. And the average consumer is subject to whatever their credit score, whatever their monthly income, and et cetera is. So when you have investors on top of consumers, somebody's going to win that battle. And it just creates for an ugly mess of things in the meantime. So my point in this is this. Most people that want to buy real estate, especially in Canada, they approach investing from a consumer mindset. I have a job. I use after-tax dollars. I'm going to buy a piece of real estate. For the love of God, I hope so I can rent this thing out and make $200 a month of cash flow. But you just took everything you had to make $200 a month of cash flow. You won't be able to retire off of that because you got to do 30 more of those before you ever see a reasonable monthly cash flow. The problem is this. You are a consumer and you're using a consumer mindset to compete with investors who do not play by the same rules. See, an investor will build a business. An investor will find discounted properties. An investor will leverage capital. An investor will raise OPM and is not tied to any one institution. No financial bank's going to hold back an investor because there's so much independent currency moving around. There's so much money in RSPs, in equity, in cash, in the Canadian economy that if you're going to the bank to fund your real estate acquisitions, you're already losing. Yeah, I know the rate's cheaper. Yeah, I know they have a program. Yeah, I know they have a plan, but the TD Bank was never designed for you to leverage it to create revenue. The TD Bank was designed to sell you a consumer product, and that's what you're doing. So when you buy 2 houses or 3 houses, you're like, man, the bank won't give me more than 5 doors. It wasn't designed to be leveraged. So I think people take a circle and they try to stick it into a square and they go as far as they can. And other education companies will tell you, just keep squeezing, man. Just keep pushing the circle in the square. Just keep working harder at your job. Save a little more downstroke. I bought 300 properties when most people bought maybe a couple. It has nothing to do with my credit score or down payment. It had everything to do with the fact that I built the business on capital. I built the business on using that liquidity to generate deals and plugging people in and using joint venture structures, not using my personal income and trying to squeeze a square into a circle. So I hope that gives you a visual context of the way we evaluate the real estate economy, especially in Canada. And by the way, not that much different in the US.
Yeah, definitely a completely different mindset. One quick bullet point to hit on to emphasize then being humble. If I'm remembering correctly from our last interview, I think out of the goodness of your heart, you either built a mortgage, I believe it was a mortgage company, to help these retail Canadian buyers get mortgages, get properties. One of either somebody that you helped get a mortgage or somebody that you were affiliated with was so moved by how much that you helped them. I believe that they even named their son Benjamin after you. if
Yeah.
I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, one of the people that worked in our office actually did. Yeah, and we moved them out of a rough situation in their living arrangement to a much nicer place, and they were just moved by it that they did. What you're referring to is our Forte financing program. Back in 2013, we created this program because I'm an immigrant and I believe in the power of homeownership. You know, we wanted to find a way to create a for-profit business that was also on purpose, helping people create much better financial situations through real estate. So we took families that would have been called subprime families, let's just say with lower credit scores, et cetera. We were able to get them a home that was completely renovated, that was completely their own on day one, financed from the private sector at about a couple $100 more than renting the neglected property next door. What's cool, since the last time we talked, man, we helped about 100 families purchase a home just in our local city. Those families, I'll give you a case study, $135,000 bought you a fully finished Forte home. The property next door was probably 110 grand, and it wasn't renovated whatsoever. But we used our own internal team. We used our own financing. We used our own discount marketing to be able to go and identify, rehab, and resell those properties with the vendor take back mortgage. The properties that were $130,000 that we sold to Shantae and Onika, two sisters that weren't going to be qualified anywhere else, that property today is worth $350,000. So what's been really amazing is we knew the families were going to be set up for success in this, but we had no idea that they would go from 130-ish to 350-ish in a matter of 4 years. So you've got families in our neighborhoods, which I'm so excited for, that have been able to generate $200,000 of equity. And these are folks that wouldn't qualify for a mortgage before. And we've got dozens and dozens of these stories. So it's the point of this is when you park your boat in the water, you will catch a rising tide. It just happened that the last 4 years were one of the best tides Canada's ever had.
Yeah, dude, that's insane. The 200 plus K in equity that they're getting from somebody that might have not even qualified to buy a home up there.
That's the nature of the beast. This is why I'm such a proponent of, if you're going to get into real estate as an investor, you got to be willing to park boats in the water, man. Like, you know, the only difference between me and most people is I just bought way more deals. I'm not smarter. I just had more boats in the water. So when the tide went up, this is no different than any other investment. Is it material enough to make a big difference in your life? Somebody buys, you know, $1,000 of Bitcoin. Hey man, I bought $1,000 of Bitcoin at 1,000 and it went to 50,000. Well, that's great. You made $50,000. Was it material enough to change your life? No. The only problem is you didn't buy 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand worth of Bitcoin at 1,000. So the return on investment is only relative to the actual investment. So that's my belief in any business, that if you're going to be in business, real estate or otherwise, make sure that the actual growth and the gain is material enough that if you catch a wave, you've got the right size boat in that water. Because if you got a little itty bitty boat and you got a little bit of real estate and a little bit of business and a little bit of crypto and a little bit of stock investments and a little bit of everything, well, then you're just going to have a little bit of nothing. That's my point here. So that's been a lesson I've learned dearly in my life, is don't play too small. You can't afford to play small. You got to play much bigger than you realize, because the difference, the delta between what it's going to take you to do a $10 million business and a $1 million business isn't that much more different. It's just the thinking is much different.
I love that, dude. Where are you sourcing, and where have you sourced your knowledge just on building, you know, the 300 plus unit portfolio in Canada, being able to do these businesses, pulling money, and I guess it goes hand in hand with the mindset, but like somebody listening to this that's trying to do something similar, where would you say you source your information from?
Yeah, so it's 300 individual purchases. Some of those are, you know, multifamily stuff like that. That I've done. And interestingly enough, so 300 purchases, I've spent about $350,000 on personal development. So do the math real quick. It's pretty much directly relational. For every unit or property, put about $1,000 out there in education. And that's pretty much what I've done.
It's an exact science too, how like the universe and stuff like that works. I have some funny tithing stories that are like that, where I got some money back from people that owed me money when I tithed the exact amount.
It's interesting how that plays out, right? But like the real answer is, it's not any one source or any one coach. I'm an amalgamation of wisdom from multiple people that I've connected with, have paid to learn from, and I've sat around and I've really, just shared and understood from their journey. So I had a wholesale coach. He helped me understand the natures and the basics of wholesaling. Then I had a business development coach, Mark Evans, who really helped me understand the nature of building a business, especially virtually. That shaped my thinking. Then I have a mentor that's exited multiple businesses, including a 9-figure business. And now they actually run and manage a SPAC on the NASDAQ, and they've got a tech company. That's helped me understand the nature of speed and execution implementation. I have another guy that runs a $200 million company, Matt Monero, that helped me understand the nature of building culture and building teams. So when you add 5, 6, 7 mentors to this degree and a whole bunch of other masterminds and groups, it shapes your thinking and it helps you align to what you want. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do with the folks that I work with and on our team, or even within our mastermind company that we've got, is to amalgamate all the different things. And that's why we become strategy agnostic. I think mentorship and growth is about the person's intended outcome. And we get so busy on the activity. Ben, what's the best strategy? No such thing. What do you want for your life? What are your immediate resources? How hard are you willing to push? What baggage are you bringing into this business? And then we can identify the most appropriate strategy based on those things. Because if you want to be like, I got a buddy, Tim, who's got over 4,000 units, and Tim accumulated those in 10 years or less, right? Tim just started with the concept that he's going to buy thousands of units. He didn't start with, I'm buying a duplex. So you've got to be able to look at your game plan and go, in 10 years, I need this. The most common problem that I get is simple. People reach out every single day. I need help with real estate investing. My first question is this: autopilot. What is your goal? This is the response: to become wealthy, to have financial freedom. My immediate response is, that's not a goal, that's a desire. People talk in terms of their desires, not in terms of tangible goals. Because we've been so conditioned to talk about our feelings, we have a hard time talking in fact. So I would rather somebody message me and go, I have an immediate goal within the next 2 years to generate $200,000 so that I can quit my job and be able to spend time with my family. Great. We got 24 months to get to 200 grand. Now we can carve a real plan. What are your resources? Well, I've got $2.4 million in the bank. Well, then you just need a 10% return on cash on the 2.4 million to make that 240 grand. Now we can identify, should you be doing lending arbitrage? Should you be doing flipping? Should you be partnering with other people? So I'm strategy agnostic because we give way too much value to strategy, which means that we focus on strategizing and we don't focus on executing. So I just think we live in this world. My mentor calls it chewing the cud. Like when a cow sits there and they eat the grass and the weeds and they're too dumb to spit it out. So they just keep chewing the damn cud. And I think we chew the cud on stuff. Mm-hmm. I have a desire to be wealthy, independent, and successful. No shit. We all do. Mm-hmm. But you've got to apply a very intentional outcome. And I think people fail to create outcomes. And that's where they fail to get the outcome. And so there's a whole world of beliefs. There's a whole world of actions. I think the only true value of a mentor is simple. Number one, it's to help you reinforce that the outcome is possible. So you should never hire a mentor that hasn't done exactly what you want to do. I think it's a false positive. Okay. Hey, I flipped 3 houses. I'm going to be a mentor. Well, I hope the only people you're mentoring want to only flip 3 houses because you don't actually know what it takes to get to 50. Right. So I tell people all the time, man, they're like, should we join your, the mentorship company? And should we be a part of that? And I'm like, well, I'm the highest lid. So if you want to do more than me, you want to do 50,000 units, you got to go to some other guy. I can't help you, right? You want to quit your job in 6 months. You want to build a real business. You want to generate millions of dollars of revenue. You want to have a $1 to $5 million company in the next 2 years. This is where we're the expert at. We can help you do that, right? So my point to you is, but we need to have that outcome established. And that's the only time that a mentor is valuable, is when they can help you go, this is an outcome, because ultimately you as the person needs to understand the power of ROI. The only reason you ever get mentorship is that you can quantify the ROI. If you can't quantify the ROI on a mentor, the likelihood of you getting an ROI is pretty slim. Mm-hmm. So it's intentions, man. When you set the right intentions with people and people honor those intentions, dude, I think you can create amazing things. So I'm a byproduct of my intentions. I'm a byproduct of my intentions leading me to conversations and to people whom I respect, and those people holding me accountable and giving me clarity about the path I need to go on.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. And so true. It's like, instead of putting $1,000 in Bitcoin, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, put that towards your fund of finding a mentor that's exactly where you want to go to. And it also reminds me of a Mark Evans podcast where he says most people, when they say they want financial freedom as a goal, he's like 90% couldn't even tell you what their number is of like their, monthly expenses of what would it actually take to have passive income or whatever income coming in addition to that. Damn it, I don't even know. Just so much amazing insight from Ben, guys. But one thing, I guess if I was to put myself in a listener's shoes that's doing a direct to seller business, and you have so much stuff going on in general. Sometimes we'll get somebody on here, and with your story, obviously you just are like flooded with gratitude from your story of how you came to Canada from Romania, stuff like that. We've had people that have had kind of like traumatic experiences, whether it's like brain damage from a car accident and they had like a new perspective on life. How can someone just like spark that level of just like wanting to take actions and be able to do all this stuff, which is something that I even struggle with when I just stay in my lane just with InvestorFuse and podcasts and everything like that. But like, if you had to give a somewhat quick answer to that, how could someone like spark the level of gratitude and action where you just are like on fire, working weekends, obsessed with this, end smart goals that you have, which we're talking about tangible goals that you have outlined?
So to answer that question, I think people live in a low level of conditioning, so they can't spark what doesn't exist there. In order to have a spark, you need to have some substance. The way that I would tell people, if I'm going to be very outcome focused on this call right here, and I'm thinking through the lens of a person who's watching this today, you got to feed the spirit and stop feeding the flesh for 30 days. Meaning, you got to stop doing what feels good in the moment that's destroying your spiritual development and your growth. And you got to start doing the things that are going to help you produce and do good. I'm going to work out my body. It doesn't feel good in the moment. I don't want to do it. I'm lazy as shit. But if you work out your body and you stay committed to doing that, you're going to condition your mind to be committed to things that you say you will. People live in a low level of conviction. The problem I have with, I want to get inspired. It doesn't matter. You're going to get motivated. You'll feel great, but you don't live with the level of conviction where you're going to actually execute. We have to train the conviction back into your body. The way we train the conviction is to focus on doing the shit you don't want to do. Work out every single day. I work 4 days a week. That's no good. 7 days, every 7 days. You're going to focus on reading some positive content. You're going to get in the right environment. And you're going to take some time with a notepad quietly, and you're going to go, what do I really want for my life? And you've got to be able to go, well, in my life, I want to travel. I want to be married. I see myself doing this and this. I see myself doing this and this. And I've got to do some basic math and determine what is the cost of that on this planet. That's going to cost me $1 million. Okay. When do you want to do that stuff? I want to do it in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever your number is. And you've been able to literally sit down and create your goal. The moment you're tethered and you're living in alignment to that piece of paper, I believe it's much easier for the human nature to stay attuned and stay moving forward because you're living in integrity. The problem with motivation without any real goal is that you're not living in integrity to what you want. You're living in the lowest version of yourself. Whatever is the most comfortable, whatever is your default setting, that's where you go. It's like turning on a TV and it goes right to that. I'm in a hotel. It goes to that channel with all the crap that nobody wants to see, right? Right? Here's all the stuff. Here's the amenities. I don't want to see that. Give me the actual TV. We default to that channel. So there's a difference between motivation and inspiration. And I think this more you feed your spirit, you do good, you practice gratitude, you talk to people, you write your goals down, you go work out every day, you clear your head, you go for a walk, you go do your job, you're thankful. The more you do that stuff, the more your flesh is going to dominate your thinking and your actions. No different than working out. It'll take you, this is the hard part, it'll take you at least 3 months of working out just for your body to go from a sugar burning state to a fat burning state. It's like 3 months, 2 to 3 months, right? Well, during 3 months, you get super discouraged real quick because you're not seeing any real result. But in month 4, in month 5, in month 6, you will start leaning out. You'll start seeing the vascularity come through your veins. You'll start going, wow, I look amazing. I did this. During COVID, I got freaking ripped because nobody else was. To me, it was so profound when everybody's complaining about the world. Nobody can go to the gym. It was so profound to take $300 worth of weights, put it in my unfinished basement, put on headphones, and freaking grind it out every single day for 6 to 7 months. And you know what happened? I got ripped. I got amazing. I got to 8% body fat. The greatest shape I was ever in my whole life. And what I came out of that was a warrior. I can do anything I set my mind to do because I was able to conquer my obesity, my fat. I was able to conquer the things that held me back. So I think this is the answer to your question. People stay motivated when they're winning. You have to start winning. And the fastest way to win is go and lift some stuff. Go for a walk, read a book. That's how you're going to start winning. That's when you're going to start creating a goal. And that's where you're going to see that goal in front of you and go, I can do this. And when you're in that state of mind and in that action mode, when you're in that momentum, that's the only time a mentor is valuable, because you're in momentum and you're moving, and winning produces winning produces winning. And when you stay in winning, all your baggage and bullshit and noise, you can cast that stuff aside and keep it to the corner until you have money for therapy. But you need to win. The fastest way to get ahead is to start winning. So small win, small win, small win. That's the way I would do this. Anything else is artificial. I can't hype you up, man, because my energy is gonna excite you because you're around me and you're feeding off my energy. But the moment my energy is gone, your whole momentum dissipates. It's like a magic trick. So if you come and I'm at an event and I'm getting you up and you're like, man, I'm feeling excited. Here's my question at every event that I do. What the hell are you doing Monday morning? Don't tell me about how you feel today. I know it's amazing because you're in my world, and my world is one of massive inspiration. My world is one of massive momentum. My world is one of super intentional actions. But what are you doing Monday morning when you go back to your room in your little town with everybody who's negative around you? What are you going to do? And the only thing you can do is realize that you're the hero to your journey. You got to start putting in the wins, and you got to fight that flesh, man. Fight the negativity, fight the noise. Most people are just not conditioned. Most people want to be Navy SEALs, but they're just regular SEALs, meaning the ones that are sitting by the beach. So the beach SEALs can never be Navy SEALs. But we got people with beach SEAL attitudes and beach SEAL bodies and beach SEAL minds that somehow to think that they're just going to be a Navy SEAL overnight. I want to get a business. You're not getting a business. You're not getting a business because you can't even get out of bed on time. You're late for everything you go to, right? You didn't even brush your teeth until 11 o'clock. How the hell are you going to be a Navy SEAL, right? You told somebody you would call them back. You never called them back, right? You're supposed to show up to a thing. You never did it. So I think we got to conquer the basics, man. If you can't conquer the basics, you're not going to make it. Simple. You might as well just quit and just go be an employee and quit coming to these podcasts. And somebody's going to get pissed off. Like, freaking humble man telling me not to come. How dare him tell me not what I can't do? Listen, you don't need sugarcoating, and you don't need somebody to kiss your ass, and you don't need a gold star anymore. All that shit's over with. You're an adult now. And in an adult world, the only thing that matters is the outcome. Because, dude, you and I both know nobody cares how hard you tried in business. Business speaks one language: outcome. You either got the profit or you didn't. You either closed the deal or you didn't. You either helped the customer or you didn't. You either hired employees or you didn't. How you feel, bro, that's a whole separate issue, right? So that's what I'm trying to say to you is that's a long-winded way of saying get up and go for a walk and stick with it. And when you do that, things like 75 Hard are designed to help you. Other people have programs for this stuff. That's how you're going to start moving forward, and you're going to start living in abundance, and you're going to start seeing the tangible result that you want.
Absolutely well said, man. It all comes down to the consistency in the foundational basic stuff, having an identity of who you want to be, tying that to goals. I have seen that you're a big, or one thing I'll say too, and I don't think Ben was necessarily going against this thought here, but you need to be your own inspiration. But at the same time, if you listen to people like Ben on a daily basis while you're doing laundry or driving instead of listening to music or whatever you could be doing, that will help with motivation, and also will help program your mind if you're listening to that stuff, even from a social proof element. If you hear this, read the book, A Millionaire's Journey from Communism to Capitalism. If you're listening to that instead of politics or news every day, you're just going to have a way better quality of life in general.
Let me add this piece, man. What you just said is you're a byproduct of your conditioning. So the first thing that my dad taught me is everything in life is a decision. You have to decide to recondition. And I think like if you went 20 years being told what to do, how to do, you're fat, you're ugly, you're dumb, you do this, don't do that, go to school, don't do this. You've been conditioned already a certain way. Now you have to counter condition. So if you're 20 years old and you're listening to this, you're like, man, I feel like crap. I want to do it or I don't want. Or even if you're a business owner at 45 and you're already doing $1 million in revenue. When you become conditioned to your own tuning fork, then all the problems of business become dealt with in a different way. I could have $1 million problem or a $50 problem. Guess what, dude? I deal with it the same way because I've got a conditioned mind. I've got a mind you're not going to penetrate with your bullshit. This is why the news doesn't affect me. The pandemic didn't affect me. This is why none of the negativity, none of that stuff affects you when you've created a conditioned mind, right? People, oh, what about all the social media noise? What noise, bro? It's called noise. I don't hear it. I don't hear it because I choose not to, because I've created an environment for myself where nothing gets through here unless I allow it to. Nothing comes out of here unless it's intentional. And I think that's what being a Navy SEAL is being so attuned to who you are and conditioned that you don't care what war you're fighting. You don't care if it's, Afghanistan, the Middle East, or home turf. It doesn't matter where the war is. It matters, are you the right soldier to even go to war? And I think business is a war. I think personal development is a war. I think everything is a war because war, the nature of war is to go out and to create and to break things down and to build things back up. And you've got to be willing to break things down, build them back up, and get super focused on a mission. And when the mission, dude, becomes greater than your ego, now you're living in harmony. That's how I stay inspired. I live for my mission. Every dollar I have, I'm a responsible steward of that dollar, entrusted to me by God, entrusted to me by other people, that I manage it as a fiduciary. So every dollar in my possession is money that I'm supposed to manage. And when you stop thinking that it's your money and you start thinking that it's somebody else's money and it's your job to manage and multiply, then what happens is you start living in abundance. You make better decisions. You make clear-headed decisions. And that's what I think is profound. It's when you live to a mission. And that mission, you're going there based on your own personal code. And I have a code. I don't cheat people. I believe in integrity. I believe in helping people. I believe in being pure to the freaking truth. The truth is the most important thing to me in this world, right? And those are the code. That's the tools that I use to get to my mission. And then I'll tell you, life becomes very simple, clear, open.
The biggest 80-20 levers, in my opinion, are understanding your subconscious mind, how to program it. One of the pieces that feeds into that are, and Ben's mentioned a few on this episode, but mental frameworks that you work through. So with that example, if he's just kind of like a steward of money for the greater good, and also potential next book title, Mission Over Ego, however you want to use that in a sentence, I think that would be a great next book for you, is absolutely some of the most powerful things. So if you guys take time to reflect on that, like even if you just think about your mission, and that's something I had even been putting off after, if you guys have been following every episode, reading the book, The Road Less Stupid, which the structure of that book talks about having at minimum 3 1-hour thinking sessions per week, where you ask like structured questions. Some of the stuff Ben is going through here similarly enough, at least, and just writing for 45 minutes, ideas that you have, 15 minutes reviewing, and then of course putting those into action. This is the exact stuff that Ben is talking about, that it's like, dude, spend an hour in deep thought, figure out what you want to project to. Once you iron that out, put some numbers around it to have those micro beliefs, and you are just a completely different person, agnostic to whatever your upbringing is, however you're conditioned in your mind, anything like that. And I've seen Ben, or two things, I guess. One, you guys know I love David Goggins. If you can handle the cuss words and everything like that. I know some people aren't into that, but if you can handle that, which I hope you can, he is absolutely amazing for Navy SEAL / mental conditioning. And then 75 Hard, highly recommend that. We've done a couple 75 Hard episodes, and I've had a bunch of people. I was surprised how many people reached out and said they did 75 Hard from listening to an interview where I interviewed Greg Simpson out of Tampa. He's done a couple phases of 75 Hard. I did it January to March of this year. Was absolutely amazing. I can't recall if I saw you doing 75 Hard, but I know that you're You're
We
on
did it
team
back to,
tracking macros.
yeah, man. Our whole team did it. We did it
That's
back to
amazing.
back. We did it back to back. I got a fitness coach. We did the macro tracking. I'll say this piece on that because you're bringing up some interesting thoughts here. So, if you're the hero in your own journey, which every person is, right, in your life story, I think my pastor taught me that your story is the most powerful thing that you have. That is your greatest asset, not your duplex, your story. And if you're the hero in your story, which you need to be, then every good story, every good plot has a mission and it has an outcome somewhere. So I think that there's a lot of people who they may or may not see themselves as the hero in their own journey. By the same token, though, they don't know how this movie's playing out, and they're just a hero with no mission. And when you're a hero with no mission, then you just become a zero, right? You become complacent, lost, scared, fearful, whatever. I think when you have a mission and you're the hero to that journey, dude, you just keep moving forward in faith. My hero, he's ripped. My hero, he's smart. My hero, he's intuitive. My hero gets the girl. My hero moves forward. My hero wants a challenge because the challenge is what makes a good plot. So I look at my life like a movie, right? I love watching great quality movies. I'm the Bruce Willis in this movie right now, and this is Die Hard, man. And I'm gonna keep moving forward, man, because nobody killing this mofo right here. So we're moving forward in this movie. I'm Bruce Willis. We're gonna encounter some explosions. We have to, otherwise the movie sucks.
Gonna step on some glass, get
whatever.
bloody feet.
Absolutely, man. And people look at their life and they want to live a boring ass movie. And I'm like, well, what's the point of living? Because I think you were put on this earth to live an amazing movie. And if the movie's great, I think to your point, inspiration is about you watching my movie. Go, that was a great movie. Let me go do my own movie. That's the power of inspiration. That's how I stay conditioned. Listen to podcasts. I read. I can tune. I don't waste my time with people that don't become the hero in their own movie. Does that make sense? I don't do it. I don't do it because they don't get me. They don't understand me. Man, you're too loud and you're too whatever. Bro, you're just so busy watching my movie, you forgot that you got your own. You literally forgot that you're supposed to be in your own movie. And sometimes, man, we're just in a bad chapter of that movie, right? We're in a chapter where it's hard and difficult and the villain's overtaking the hero. And we're like, oh shit, my life sucks. Bro, you're just in a bad chapter of the movie. You got to keep going through the movie to get to the good part. I think we literally stop. We stop. If I look at it like a book, you just have to keep writing the book. Write your damn book, man. Keep going. You never know when it picks up, when it gets exciting. You never know. Just keep writing on that. So I think there's 4 parts to success. I'll just throw this out for your audience because I think it's valuable so that I don't misunderstand. There's 1 part ambition. You got to have a level of ambition about you where you want to have more and do more than what you've done and what you have. Simple. If you believe that and you have an ambition, comes in many different formats and many different intensities. But you could be a person of intense ambition or not, but you have to have a level of ambition. Then I think there's 1 part equal humility. Humility is nothing more than being willing to go, I don't know stuff and I need to ask for help. I don't know how to get there, so I need to pay for it. Humility is saying I don't know it all. So what resources can I use? My money, my energy, my talents to go and get what I need so that I can keep moving forward. I think ambition without humility is straight up ego and it's unproductive. And I think humility without ambition is meekness. You're not going to do much. So I think it takes 1 and 1, and that's a science to use those together. The third one is going to be proximity. I believe in closing the gap. If I want to be, a big investor, and all the big investors are living in this part of the country, guess what I need to do? Get my ass on a flight and close the damn gap. I need proximity to people that are doing the things I want to do. That's a mentor. That's a mastermind. That's a group of people. You got to close the gap, because if you're living in frightful little old city in Windsor, Canada, whatever, everybody's scared of the whole, world imploding, you're not going to do anything because you don't have proximity. And then the 4th thing is a commitment to a dedicated plan. You need a dedicated plan if you're going to accomplish anything. You need the mission. Now you got a mission, you got proximity to other heroes, you got a level of humility to ask for help and provide value, and you got enough ambition to not stop until you get to your mission. And if you get those 4 things in harmony, David, you become an unstoppable creature. And I think it's just powerful. So I just wanted to throw that out there for your audience. Like, don't mistake me for a nice guy. Like, that humble guy is just a nice guy. Fucking aggressive, man. Trust me, I'm aggressive. But the way that I'm aggressive is in a way where I don't allow my ego to dominate my agenda, right? And I want to serve and help people along the way. I'm not an or kind of guy. I'm an and. I want to have a great business and help a lot of people and give a lot of money away and be aggressive and be humble at the same time. And not or. I don't have to be this way or this way. I don't have to be a dick or be a nice guy. I can be a nice guy with massive intention, help people, and be aggressive. And how I do that can be respectful.
Love it, man. And practicing what you preach, exactly one of the 4 points of success there literally is in a hotel, just so he can be hotel in Vegas right now, taking this podcast, which I appreciate, just so he can be around the, the United States big players out there, out West in Phoenix and Vegas and everything for masterminds. This has been a awesome interview. I'd love to ask you who is ideally, and we know it's focused on business building, but who is ideal to be in the Cashflow tribe? And also, what does the future hold for Ben Humble? What kind of vision do we have set out there?
So we have different levels to Cashflow tribe. We have a moniker. It's 55J12. You've been investing for 5 years or less. You have 5 doors or less. You have an active job or income, and you want to buy and close on a deal in the next 12 months. If you want, you can come join our community. We have a completely complimentary free community of stuff that you can do. If you want to accelerate the 12 months down to 3 months, that's where you need mentorship. You want to build a real business. Maybe you want to quit your job. Maybe you don't, but you really want to take control of your finances, and you understand the power of building a real business, marketing, sales, operations in a very strategic, very aligned way to what your exact outcome is. So if you're a Canadian, you want to be a Canadian real estate business owner, you understand that it's going to take real work and effort, and you're willing to make an investment in your own time and energy, you can build out a real business. I think anybody can. The future of Ben Humble is all about living in alignment to my own personal mission. I believe I've been put on this earth. I've been given certain talents, like all of us have. And my gifting is, for me, being able to inspire people and being able to activate. The way that I do that is entertain, educate, activate. People need a level of entertainment to get excited. They want to see something with their eyes and experience it, with their eyes and ears, so that they can go, wow, this is something of intrigue to me. Education for me is really about empowerment. I'm not going to do anything for you. If you buy any of my books, products, or join our company, nobody's going to make success happen for you, but we can empower you, and then we can equip you. And then if we do that correctly, we're going to help you activate what's inside of you so you can do the work, take the action, get the result. It's your outcome and it's your hero journey. Don't let anybody else be the hero in your life. So I believe every single person, we're in such an amazing time in North America, Canada, and the US, where there's so much opportunity, but most people just don't sit high enough on the mountain peak to see it. They're in the valley, they're at the base of the mountain, and they only see and hear the people around them that complain, the people around them that get mediocre results, the people around them that live in fear, the news, the noise, the media. That's what they see. If you simply just come up to the top of the peak and get perspective by spending time with people that live there all day, you're going to go, wow, I can have a business. I can have success. I can have a six-pack. I can have an amazing marriage. I can be a great father or mother to this person. I can be all things and not or. So that's what's in future. The more people I can serve and help and grow and impact and make a lot of money at the same time, I'm all for it.
Love it, man. Well, it is a true pleasure and a privilege to get connected with you originally a couple years ago, get reconnected here to chat, hopefully stay in touch. Appreciate the way you choose to live your life, inspiring, just being a genuine vessel, literally a mental framework that you come from, a steward of money, just giving it to multiply and helping out a lot of people, man. What is the best place to follow you on social? I have cashflowtribe.com in the show notes below. I know that we definitely had some Canadian listeners last time that found the interview. So I have that in the show notes. And what's the best place to follow you on social?
Instagram, Ben Humble CEO.
Ben Humble CEO. Guys, check out the book, From Communism to Capitalism. Here's the white Lambo right here, Millionaire's Journey. Pretty cool graphic there. And enjoy your travels, man. Good to have you in the United States for sure. It's a good vibe I can pick up, even though you're across the country here from Maryland.
Appreciate you, man. Have an amazing day, and let's go get activated.
Let's get it, guys.